What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting video by Newtype TCG. On today's video, we're going to be covering the tier list of the leaders of the brand new Dragon Ball Super, the card game Fusion World. This is not Dragon Ball Masters, what we have been covering on this channel for the last year. I am super excited to be doing this tier list review just because I got to just finish the beta testing for this game on its digital client. Yes, that is right, we finally got a Dragon Ball digital card game, which will be coming out this March, and we'll be getting the physical version of this card game here next month in February. I am super excited to be covering the tier list of these leaders. This is a really fun beta test, and just overall, a really fresh start of a new Dragon Ball card game. Even though I am a big advocate of the Masters, sadly, we'll be probably switching over to Fusion World just because of the card pool advantage, me being able to start in a fresh card game, which this will be the first card game I'm actually starting from the beginning. So without that being said, do all the typical YouTube stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it has been quite some time on the channel, been able to put out any kind of video or content. I will be dropping an explanation video of kind of why I have been absent from YouTube altogether, not just this channel, but my other two as well. That will be coming up in the next few days. On top of that, we are at our 500 subscribers, so we are definitely doing our giveaway. We have quite a lot of product that we've been holding for the last year just for this giveaway, and if we get to 600 subscribers by this time this video is out, we will be adding in some extra goodies. Without further ado, let's start on this tier list. Okay, so first things first, this game was really good. I was really happy that it was a fresh start to Dragon Ball, obviously with Masters being a really high stakes game, and it honestly can all come down to just one card. This game is really diverse as far as the fact that there is no negates. There's really no counterplays. There's some counter attacks, but right now with the archetypes, there's really only one per color. So it is kind of nice and fresh going into a game, not being negated every 5 seconds like you are in the normal Masters version. This is definitely a more simplified version of the card game. Reminds me a lot of how Digimon the card game plays and how One Piece plays. Even though I am not a One Piece player, I am kind of up to date with how the game plays due to other friends like Opus Gaming Jamaid. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to him, check him out. I'll have him in the link below. But yeah, I mean, just a lot of stuff like that. Alright, so getting started on the tier list, we're going to go card by card. We're starting off with Vegeta. Now, just so everybody knows, when I played this game, I got to play with pretty much one leader only, and it was probably one of the worst leaders. I got to play Starter Deck Goku. So, this is my experience playing Starter Deck Goku and a completely stock Frieza deck. Frieza was the only other deck I got to play. And I only got to play it pretty much at its stock form. So these are just based off of the 4 days I was playing the beta and my matches. So as far as Vegeta goes, Vegeta is a blue card. It is the blue starter deck for the brand new card game. Personally, I do think it is a pretty strong deck. I just don't think it's going to be the best in the first format or necessarily the starter deck meta. Personally, I'm going to just put it in solid. It's blue, so it's cool, it's good, it can do things, but without crazy support the first set, I don't think it's going to be really the most, I guess, dominant deck. It's definitely going to be probably good at locals, but as far as pushing further past that, I don't think it's going to really be meta right away. With it being able to kind of mimic things just because it has 7 or less cards seems to be kind of how that deck works. I've noticed that me playing a lot of Vegeta players, I was able to kind of bait them out to play most of their big cards, combo out while I still wasn't awakened. Once I awakened, they were only at a few cards and I was able to push through them. It does have a really cool like ability with the 15 or 7 or few cards. It gets an extra 10 or 15k boost during their turn, which is really cool. But other than that, like the cards itself, they played really well, but it just sent things back to hand or bottom deck, which does suck, but at the end of the day, depending on the deck you're playing, that really wasn't the, worst thing in the world to do to them. Going next, this is going to be kind of controversial. I am going to say that Brawly is top tier. There's a few reasons why I say that. So going into this, you guys are going to notice the two colors that I do believe are going to be closest to the meta in starter deck or the first set. Brawly was one of the hardest opponents to go up against once they were awakened. It really depended on the Brawly player itself. I could really tell when somebody really knew how to play the deck and when somebody just was learning the game. Playing the more experienced players playing Brawly, it was an extremely difficult match for Red Goku, especially the starter deck one. I'm sure SSB would have been a lot better going up against them, but for starter deck, Red Goku, and even Frieza, it was a really difficult match for multiple things. One, Brawly has a really fun mechanic where it can take cards from the life and put it, or from your energy, and put it in drop. Your card's gaining power. On top of that, it is just huge. Awakened, he is a 25k, and he gets to ramp. He doesn't get to take a card to hand, he literally just ramps an energy. And on top of that, he's just huge. It's Brawly. It literally is playing just like how Brawly is in the anime. Dude's just giant, and he gets to keep playing more and more Brawlys, which just get to keep making their board bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, they have a 3 and 4 cost that's a 30 and 40k. On top of that, Brawly on his turn, on Brawly's turn, he is an extra 10k. That is 35k attack you're getting every time when they're awakened. That is really hard to get around. And playing decks where, let's say, you're trying to wait a little bit to awaken just because you're trying to, you know, catch up and gain those cards so you have more comboable power in the later game, can make things difficult just because most of their battle cards are really big. Comboed with the Paragus, which gets to search out blockers and tokens and all sorts of things like that, which is freaking insane, especially for a starter deck coming off right away. I just think Brawly's going to be huge. For starter decks, I personally think that he is the strongest. I really don't see anything being stronger than Brawly in the first set. I definitely feel like there's going to be other decks that are able to push through that for sure, without a doubt. But as far as a just out-the-box starter deck, going with the starter leader, I do believe Brawly is going to be the strongest. It's just like I said, its mechanics are so fun, and they just get to do a lot. And once they get to be awakened, I mean, it is just such an extra step trying to have to beat them, just because most cards awakened in this game on their flip side, on their backside, are only 20k. So being a 20k leader going into a 25, you are guaranteed to combo every single time. On top of that, unless you're swinging with something that's big, like for instance, if you're playing red, if you're playing with your double strike guy, that's great and all, you get to 35, but they can also get to 35 with just taking a card from energy, putting it in drop, boom, you've just wasted your time. And on top of that, they're just huge. I mean, they literally don't have to combo much to make up the differences for most leaders. So Brawly, I think, is top tier. Once again, this is my take from my experience. Starter deck Goku is going to be between meh and D. And the reason why I can say that is because I played this the entire time. I pretty much just tried to stick with playing Goku. Like, I tried so hard to get enough gems to be able to play the alternate leader, the Super Saiyan Blue. The poll system was terrible. I'm going to be having another video just with my take on the entire beta itself. But yeah, that was a big thing, was trying to get gems to get more packs. It was just a pain in the ass. And yeah, being stuck with just him, not so good. Right out the box, like playing starter deck to starter deck, it's actually pretty fun. But as soon as you are playing anything that has any kind of support in it, regardless if this deck has the support from the set, it's just still not that great. So right now I'm going to keep it in D. It might move to meh by the end of this, but that's just how it is. Frieza. I think Frieza is great. Has a chance to be top tier, but I'm going to keep it down in great. Frieza for a leader right away. I mean, Awakened side, you literally get to restand 2 Frieza army cards, which most of the time you're going to have a blocker that's restanding, which is freaking insane. On top of that, paired with a lot of the cooler cards that come in the set, It's just a really good deck. I mean, Frieza is just very versatile, plays a lot of blockers, plays like your typical yellow deck in Dragon Ball, even Masters. So cycling cards on top of that, you get a lot of draw ones, you get searches right away, and on top of that, the restanding for the blockers is just so huge, especially in the starter deck meta right away, especially when you're trying to close a game out and they have enough cards on field. And there's a lot of low cost cards in the Frieza deck that I noticed are really good. I mean, you have a Frieza card from the set that's a 5-drop. It's not as big as the Double Strike, but when it comes out, it gets to play a King Cold. I noticed that was a really good card to come out because there's a really big blocking King Cold from the starter itself. So that's just really good to be able to play out for free. So that's literally 2 big cost cards. You get to slam them into your opponent, and then you get to restand them at the end of the turn. I mean, it's pretty amazing. There's not a lot of cards that target in this game right away, the first set. So for instance, getting rid of a unsuspended card is actually really hard unless you are playing red and you are just giving them negative power to KO them through game mechanics. That's it. There's really nothing else unless you're playing some sort of extra card that is going to get rid of a blocker or something like that. I think the biggest card I've seen to get rid of things is the red Goku card from the starter deck that just gives something negative 30k, which is huge. That could do a lot, but still, Frieza, even at its double strike, guys, 35k like most other double strikes in the game. So I mean, Frieza's usually going to stand, especially playing against red, unless maybe it's playing the SSB blue leader. So, moving on to that, SSB. I think this and Brawly right now are top. SSB is nuts just because every single U7 card on your field, which pretty much most of the red cards in the set are U7. There's a few U6 cards. Not enough compared to U7. U7's huge. I mean, literally the entire starter deck pretty much is U7. On top of that, most of the cards coming out in the set are U7. So most red cards you're playing in this game, you're giving them an extra 5k. And that may not seem like it's a lot. I guess I didn't even mention before, the starter deck leader only gives 1 card on Awaken side, 5k power. Why that can be really good both turns, really handy to give that extra guy 5k to survive. The fact that Super Saiyan Blue gives your entire U7 field 5k is huge. Reason being is because in the starter deck alone, you get a lot of TN cards, which are literal 1k, or 1 drop 15ks. That is now at 20k. That can now hit a Awakened leader for 1 cost. That's huge. 2 cost 18s from the deck are 20k already. It is now a 25k swing. That is huge for just a 2 cost, a simple 2 cost, and so on and so forth. Every card you get is gaining more and more value. If you have the Beerus 3-drop from the starter deck, that is a critical card for 20k already coming out. Now it has an extra 5k, so now it's 25k coming out. On top of that, that Beerus is giving something else on your side of the field, another 5k. Let's say the turn or 2 before that, you played the 1-drop Roshi, the 1-drop Whis, that's giving your opponent negative 5k, or you're just using the Roshi to get that extra draw. He's still on field. He gets an extra 5k from leader, which is now giving him 10k. Now that Beerus card just gave that an extra 5k. That's 15k. That can now hit front side leaders without any hesitation whatsoever, and that is just for a 1-cost draw. Like, what? Like, things like that are so cool to be able to mimic with the Goku SSB leader. That just makes the deck so strong. And the simple fact, once again, it gets a draw 1. It's just a really good deck. I think it's honestly better than Brawly at some points, but these two I really don't see. I really don't know. These are kind of tied for me right now. Like I said, not being able to play that deck, I can't really tell much, but by seeing other people's games and playing against these decks, just from my understanding, I feel like this is where they both are right now. Cooler, also top tier. Cooler is cracked. Cooler is getting a lot of good support in the first set. The fact that it's able to also use a lot of the cards from the Frieza starter deck is just really good all around. I definitely think it's going to be top tier, especially set 1. It has enough cards coming out that it's going to keep pushing this deck to be better and better. I do believe it is definitely better than the Frieza leader for sure, and I think this is going to be the first strong yellow we have. I didn't get to play too many coolers, but most of the time when I played a cooler, it was a pretty gnarly match. There was times I definitely beat it with starter deck Goku, but once again, starter deck Goku only does so much. So a lot of the times I was playing a cooler, if it did have most of the support from the set, it was usually kicking my ass. So cooler, I definitely think I'm going to keep that in the top tier. We're going to go back to that though, because there's a chance that it might get dropped down to great, but I really think it's going to be top tier. I'm going to go Trunks and do solid. Blue is just solid right now for me. Trunks, I think, can be stronger than Vegeta for sure. There's definitely some gimmicky cards in the deck that can help. But as far as it goes, I think it's better than Vegeta at some point, just because it's conditions and what it can do on its opponent's turn. But other than that, I mean, it's good. It's blue. Like I said, blue is obviously going to be a really strong color in Dragon Ball, because in all Bandai games, blue just ends up being cracked. I just think for the first set, it is just okay. It's just good. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not super good either. It's going to go both ways, really. This next blue deck, though, it is meh or D. There's just not enough support for Goku Black. Goku Black's really good on its front side. Gets crit plus 5k. It's really good, really cool, but just not a lot from it. Like, its boss monster is good. That's it. Like, I did not play a single Goku Black, and I was worried. Like, I would rather play the red starter deck over Goku Black right now. Just not a lot of support for it. You have to use Zamasu's on its front side to be able to do things, to get your draws, to get your plays in. Just not a lot in the set, the first set, you know? So I just personally think that Goku Black's just not going to be that great right now. It could move, it could change. Just not that great. Ginyu's meh. I didn't get to play any Ginyus, but seeing some of the cards from the archetype, it doesn't look like it's terrible, and it is yellow, so I mean, it is going to be able to pop off a little bit, especially with the other Frieza cards and stuff like that from the starter deck. But as far as Ginyu cards itself, nothing really impressive here. Actually, now I'm really looking at this, I feel like I got to put Trunks in Great. I'm going to put Trunks in Great, so all you blue players, you can be happy I put blue somewhere. But yeah, Ginyu's just, he's weird. We're not going to go into too much of his detail just because I didn't get to play any. I just can't say it's as bad as these two, just because I got to play both of these and they're trash. So that's that. Gohan's sick. Gohan's going to go up with Broly, so definitely top tier. Gohan's cracked. Gohan can also get the plus 15k. Gohan has a bunch of cards that can deal with the whole... anything from the Broly starter deck pretty much just works with Gohan. So all the big ass cards, all the blockers, all the searchers, all that stuff kind of works with Gohan. And then Gohan gets its own special cards as well. Like, there's a Trunks that gets to come out for dirt cheap, gets to attack and gain extra points. Top of that, it's good. It's green and he gets huge. He can be to 35k on his swing on his turn. That's huge. You can pretty much get rid of most battle cards on the field and definitely push through any leader that is awakened, even. Broly would be the only one that would be kind of an even match, but guess what? That Gohan is still going to be the same power when it hits that Broly. So I think personally, Gohan is just as strong as Broly, if not could be stronger. It all is going to depend on how the meta plays out once the game actually is live. As far as starter decks go, I think it's up there for sure. Or it's not a starter deck, I'm sorry. For the first set, I think it's a fantastic leader. I think it's great. Moving on to 17, this is probably top of great. It's probably going to be meta. As far as my experience goes, I didn't get too much time playing against this deck. I only played maybe one or two, and it didn't seem like they had a lot of Android cards in their deck, so they were just kind of playing based off of the green cards from the Broly deck. which once again, it's not a terrible thing, especially the first set out, and especially for a beta like we were playing. But just in general, it's good because it's green. It gets to do a lot. I mean, once it has 6 or more energy, you're pretty much gained 10k, so you're 30k leader at all time, which is really strong, really good. There's definitely some Android cards in the set that do get the help with that 6 energy type of thing. It does act like an Android where it's just not running out of steam, which is really cool. Has some fun mechanics with it, but once again, just not the most support right away, especially for the beta. So this definitely could change. I feel like this will be top tier by the end of the first set, but I could be wrong. Beerus is between solid and great. I think it's great for the simple fact that it is huge on its front side. Unawakened, it's a 20k crit leader. That's huge. I mean, that's putting pressure right away first turn. That's insane. Then on its awakened side, it's giving something negative 10k, which is also huge. Paired with a lot of the Whis cards that you're getting in not only the starter deck, but for Goku, but through the set itself. This deck is going to be pretty damn good. Beerus right away, I think, is very strong. I can't tell if it's going to be stronger than 17 and 18. I just didn't get enough testings with both of them. So that will be for a later video, probably after the set drops. I'll do another tier list from, once again, this is from my opinion. This is not a legit tier list. I am no professional card player by any chance, and by any means. This is just based off of what I played with pretty much the weakest starter deck in the game. So take it how you want. Beerus is strong. It gets a lot of the cards from the Goku deck, so once again, those cards alone are good. It's just the Goku leader from the starter sucks that bad. So I think Beerus is a really big competitor in this new meta that's coming out in this brand new card game. So yeah, this is kind of my list. I don't really want to change anything from here, just because looking at it, I mean, it's fun, it's new, it's fresh. I think it's going to bring a lot of the Dragon Ball fans together to play a card game, and I think Fusion World is going to be a fantastic game. The card art right away is not the best, but after seeing some leaks from the Battle Hour of some of the SPR type cards, and they are looking good. So I think we are in good hands. I think the Fusion World game alone is going to grow, and I am really looking forward to seeing what other players are doing with some of these, really simplistic decks. Thank you everybody for watching. Comment below what your favorite deck was that you got to play during the beta, if you didn't get to play the beta, or what other kind of videos you'd like to see regarding Fusion World. Once again, if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time on Newtype TCG. Have a good one, everybody.